Good evening. I'd like to begin by asking you all an important question. Do you have up-to-date wills and estate plans? Yes? If not, you're not alone. The majority of North Americans don't have these. And you've probably all heard tales of nasty disputes over wills and inheritances. Yet when it comes time to planning our own affairs, despite stories like this, a lot of us have what's called Ostrich Syndrome. Our head is in the sand, and we think we'll get around to it one day. I spent more than 25 years working as a wealth management and estate planning expert, and I saw a lot go wrong over the years, the worst being the family fights. We're in the midst of a vast intergenerational transfer of wealth. Money is exchanging hands from senior citizens into the hands of baby boomers, and this is also now trickling down from baby boomers to their kids. And one of the unsavory aspects of this massive wealth transfer is the sibling disputes. There's nothing like greed for cash, items of sentimental value, cottages, and family businesses to really drive a wedge between siblings. But the good news is that these problems can largely be avoided with proper planning. And it was my job to help people understand how to grow their net worth and how to bulletproof their estate. I felt really proud of the contribution I made over the years, helping thousands of Canadians take control of their estate planning and their wealth planning. But here's something I didn't realize. I didn't realize that financial planning is only one part of the equation for ensuring continued well-being. Almost 4 years ago, I found out with a sudden bang that the definition of wealth that I had been operating under for all of those years was flawed. It was Valentine's Day in the year 2012, and I woke up that morning looking forward to a wonderful dinner out with my husband, as we always do on Valentine's Day. A little later that morning, I could see that my doctor was calling. I assumed she was calling about my prior diagnosis. Lucky me, just a few months earlier in 2011, I was Ontario's 11th person to be diagnosed with West Nile virus. Yeah, that was me. And when she said to me, "Sandy, would you like to come down here to talk? Or is the phone okay?" That's when I immediately sensed this conversation was not going to be a happy one. She said, "Sandy, it's a malignancy. You have ovarian cancer. Advanced ovarian cancer." Advanced. Yeah, that's me. I've always been an overachiever. But before then, I never knew the true meaning when someone said their head started spinning. But I sure did then. Like many cancer sufferers, I never saw it coming. I thought that I was eating reasonably well, and I was exercising, and I had a fulfilling career and a great family life. But I wasn't paying the kind of attention to my health that I was paying to my clients' financial well-being. It was a huge wake-up call, because what good is all of that financial planning if you're not going to be around to enjoy the rewards? My diagnosis sparked within me a sudden quantum change in perspective about what it really means to invest in the future. I realized then very viscerally that the meaning of true wealth can't be defined by just money and investments. Investing in the future means taking control not only of your financial health, but your biological health too. So let me tell you what I did shortly after diagnosis. A couple things. First, I realized I now needed to update my own estate plans. And then, being the highly analytical type, I needed to understand why my body regressed into disease. I simply didn't believe the disempowering notion that I had a pile of rogue cells that mutated for no reason whatsoever. Our bodies are self-repair mechanisms, and given the right ingredients, our bodies can and will heal. And fortunately, with time and patience and a lot of research, I rebuilt my health. And I'm sure you're all familiar with the saying that prevention is better than cure. And with hindsight, I realize how little I was doing in terms of preventative care. Why? I thought that I was taking steps towards preventative care, and beyond that, I really didn't want to give it any more thought. You see, just as there are barriers to estate planning, there are also barriers to engaging fully in preventative health. None of us want to think about getting sick or dying. Have you heard that Woody Allen quote where he says, "I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't want to be there when it happens." Prevention is key because once cancer or any other chronic illness is in full bloom, it is that much harder to reverse. Just as your wealth is built with returns over time, your health is also built with returns over time. Investing in the future means taking advantage of a lot of small daily things that you can do for your wealth and your health, which in aggregate, and when you factor in time, will have a profound effect on your future. I did a lot of research after D-Day. That's what I call my diagnosis day. I immersed myself in all things health-related, and I was shocked to learn about the impact of toxins on our bodies. All of us were exposed to over a couple hundred toxins every single day. Things like pollution in the air, toxins in our household cleaning supplies, our skincare line, plastics, and pesticides. Take pesticides alone. The Centers for Disease and Control report that there are traces of 29 different pesticides in the average person's body. Studies also link long-term pesticide exposure with things like ADHD, depression, and cancer. And children are particularly vulnerable. So our livers are more overtaxed than ever, and our livers are responsible for breaking down the toxins. And many of us have overburdened or sluggish livers. Some signs that you may have a sluggish liver would be things like digestive ailments, skincare issues, hormonal fluctuations, and a developing intolerance to alcohol and coffee. Our bodies are naturally designed to eliminate toxins, but there are two problems. The first is that in today's world, our toxic load often exceeds our channels of elimination. And secondly, some people genetically are just better able to detox than others. And I, unfortunately, am not one of those people. I found out, or I uncovered through genetic testing, that I lack an important gene which has to do with how efficiently my body eliminates toxins. But I also found something else about this that I found fascinating. Roughly 40% of Caucasians also lack this important gene. So this isn't a freak outlier thing. There needs to be widespread concern about ways that we can support our bodies to prevent chronic disease. As part of the research I did over the last few years, I was pleasantly surprised to learn about the way that food can support our body and the myriad ways that foods can change our physiology. Let's look at 3. Starting with broccoli. Did you know that broccoli can help to prevent cancer? That's great. And for you men in the room, there are so many studies linking broccoli with the prevention of prostate cancer. The Linus Pauling Institute from Oregon reports that sulforaphane, an ingredient in broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables, is a potent detoxifier. It can also selectively target and kill cancer cells. Like a smart bomb. So pile up on the broccoli. Listen, I'll be the first to admit I don't love broccoli myself, but I do eat it 3 to 4 times a week. Turmeric. Turmeric is the yellow spice used in Indian cuisine like curries. And turmeric does so much more for us than just make our curries taste good. There are many reports on turmeric. One from the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Texas, which reports that curcumin, an active ingredient in turmeric, is anti-inflammatory, but it can also change your genetic expression, preventing cell mutation. And the way I take turmeric is in a recipe called golden milk. You can Google that, and I promise it won't bring up anything kinky. Green tea. Does anyone here drink green tea? A few of you. Well, for those of you who do, you're doing a great thing for your body. There are also numerous studies on green tea, such as those by Dr. Richard Beliveau, a PhD in biochemistry and a prof from the University of Montreal. His reports show that the polyphenols in green tea can actually inhibit the formation of cancer's new blood vessel supply, thus halting cancer's growth. Pretty powerful stuff, and all of these are just simple steps. Simple investments which add up to great returns in the long run, which is why it's so very important to be cognizant of performance and returns, not just with your financial health, but with your biological health too. Just as diversification is important with your investment portfolio to reduce market risk, so too is diversification important with what you eat. Choose a wide spectrum of healthy foods to reduce risk of chronic disease. And just as you should adhere to the old adage, pay yourself first and front load your savings so they grow and compound nicely over time, so too should you also pay yourself first with your health and load your plate with anti-cancer foods because your health compounds over time too. And just as you may seek a financial advisor to talk about your goals and objectives, you should also take control and develop a healing team around you to empower your medical position. Some of you may be wondering if I chose the traditional chemotherapy route after the cancer diagnosis, and my answer is no, I didn't. I chose to empower myself with knowledge of ways to support my body's natural healing processes. There is no right or wrong answer to these difficult types of decisions. The only thing that's important is that everyone follow their own intuition. So remember, it's not just about money. Your health is vital to the equation. Don't wait to get shocked into action like I was. I hope that my story and my message has sparked within you a desire to take steps towards preventative care so that you have a wealthy future in all senses of the word. I wish you all health, wealth, and happiness. Thank you.